Hello, we're the Benkyo Buddies Study Tomodachi. Our goal is to help others realize the positive impacts of the peer effect and how studying plays a big role in academic success. However, the peer effect is generally viewed as a negative effect, and studying is seen as a chore rather than an important and impactful activity to participate in.
The grass is always greener on the other side is a famous quote. However, if you really look at it, grass is only greener where you water it. We want to help inspire others not only to study, but to study with a buddy, hence the peer effect. This allows for a healthy balance of academic pursuit along with socialization. This action makes studying more enjoyable for students. We want to share success, we want to share greatness, and most of all, we want to feel good about this. But it's not about switching your surroundings, it's about nurturing them.
To me, I have always valued the importance of maintaining good grades, solely thinking that grades were the only requirement needed to move me forward to college and a future career. However, as I started high school, I went to a new year and a new environment, surrounding myself with people who had a whole different outlook on education to what I never really had. I met students who didn't just care about getting A's, they cared about being part of something. They got involved, joined clubs, worked on projects, and started conversations and supported each other. It made me realize that education is more than just tests and assignments. It is also about who you're learning with and how those people influence you. The peer effects slowly started to reshape how I approached school. I started to care about being present, connecting with others, and finding meaning beyond the letter grade. That shift didn't just happen overnight, but it stuck with me, and it is what led me to this APV project.
Growing up, my mom always taught me to value education, but she never taught me why. This made me question my abilities and if they were truly worth my time. I was constantly praised for my intelligence and acknowledged it myself. However, due to this praise, my ego got too big, and I solely focused on my current skill rather than improving it because I already felt superior. Then, I noticed that because of this lack of studying, I academically became insufficient since I wasn't absorbing enough material to get through my classes. Yet, when I tried to study, I would always give up immediately because I saw it as a boring chore. This was a problem because I simply saw education as a form of repetition and memorization rather than truly immersing myself in it and absorbing the material. And I realized that this has to have happened through positive stimulation and reinforcement. And one of my questions is like, I can memorize the lyrics of my favorite song, but I can't even memorize the unit circle. This brings me back to the Jeff Duncan Andrade video, where he even gave us an example of it. He gave us an example of the child punishing versus the child discipline. If you discipline a child, they will learn, because discipline isn't about punishment. It's about them learning about their past mistakes and learning how to correct them and learning through picking up those behaviors. However, if you punish a child, they really won't learn. They'll just learn to fear punishment, and that's why they won't do it. But they truly learn from their mistakes. And my point is that I see learning as that, because if you attempt to memorize something that seems superfluous to you, it will practically go in one ear and out the other. I value my education and I value my knowledge. Therefore, we made a solution for you.
Benkyo Buddies was organized to allow us to nurture our minds as a community. Starting change within those being educated will possibly allow for change within the system which educates us.
It is about nurturing your nature and starting to pursue your education as a positive and helpful aspect of your life. Education is not simply a system like how school is. Education is in everything.
My name is Brianna Jimenez, and this is why I think that the peer effect helped me get into top universities such as Stanford University, which I will be attending in the upcoming fall. Being part of Puente, I've been surrounded by so many like-minded individuals, and if it weren't for their help and them exposing me to different opportunities and sharing these different, resources and programs like Trio, Stage at Stanford University, I feel like I wouldn't have had all this experience to use for my college applications. And I feel really appreciated for not only the peers I have surrounding me, but also as well as the teachers, specifically Mr. Williams and Miss Henry, who helped me so much and who also has helped me network with so many people from different universities. And yes.
Were there times when being around motivated friends helped me push through? I would say 1000%. Coming into high school, I kind of lacked the guidance and mentorship to be successful in a not only academic setting, but a higher education setting. And joining high school, I also joined Puente, which is a 4-year preparation program for under-resourced, first-generation, low-income students. And this kind of showed me that being around people who have similar goals and aspirations as you can really help you push through the most challenging obstacles. Specifically when all deciding to take the same AP classes despite acknowledging that it was going to be very difficult. And similarly, whenever struggling for a test or thinking the worst of a test, being around people and having friends who have that same intrinsic, I would say, motivation really helped me push through and believe in myself. And similarly, I've been able to do this for my own sister and for the younger students at Rancho San Juan who have been in my position of lack of guidance and lack of motivation. And the one piece of advice I always give them is surround yourself with individuals who are like-minded, who uplift you and motivate you and don't see you as competition, but rather as a collective. I always say this, it's not me, it's we. And so yeah, I would say having a motivated friend group has really allowed me to be where I am today and pursue higher education in the fall.
One way that the peer effect has affected me positively over the past 4 years is that it's held me accountable many times, specifically in academic terms, because I've surrounded myself with very like-minded people who have like-minded goals, and we strive for similar things. So it's been pretty easy for us to be like, hey, Alina, did you do this homework? Like, remember that we have notes due tomorrow, and that's the way that the peer effect has affected me, because I surround myself around like-minded people and we've been able to influence each other to turn things in, hold each other accountable, etc.
One person who has had the most influence on me during my high school years has been my English teacher, Miss Henry, who has continuously shaped me into the person I am today by allowing me to embrace my culture and identity. And I feel that because of her, I feel more confident speaking up and opening up about a lot of vulnerable topics, and it allows me to also feel more comfortable sharing aspects with others that I might not feel comfortable sharing. And she also imparts the value of community through her Puente program, which I'm also a part of.
My name is Alejandro Cortes, and I am going to UC Berkeley in the fall of 2025. And throughout my high school career, I would say the peer effect mostly helped me in joining new clubs and organizations in community service, because in my freshman and sophomore year, I was keeping on track academically, but my extracurriculars were lacking. But the people I've met in junior and senior year really pushed me to be in clubs and do community service and join outside organizations. So I would say that being around certain people definitely could have changed my trajectory in high school.
I can say I would not be where I am today without the people around me. When I was a freshman, I had no idea what I want to do in the future. It was just an idea that, I need to go to college. It was my friends around me and everyone around me that motivated me to finish my homework on time, apply to outside programs, do community service hours, and form study groups for a test. When you surround yourself with people who have similar goals as you, it is incredibly motivating. And when everyone is striving for something, you don't want to be the only one falling behind. As Ms. Henry have said, people in college change because they are surrounded by people who walk in straight lines instead of circles. Birds of a feather flock together.
Yes, I have noticed, and I think learning as a language learner, it's really important that you interact with many people, not just the sensei, but especially your peers, your C partners. That's why I do a lot of rotations. I do small group discussions. I allow group projects, because when you are learning actively with other students, that's where you can learn. You can teach each other, and when you're able to teach others, you're learning even more. So I want each student to be learner as well as a teacher to other students. As a language learner, I think it's great to hear different voices and to try to say the same thing to different people, get different reactions, and to continue adding to what you're saying. It's just so important that you practice with multiple partners, multiple people constantly, and have the confidence that you will be understood, or you can communicate with many people.
I have seen the peer effect impact my students both positively and negatively, depending on how well the group works. So I think it's really important to kind of assign seating or switch up groups randomly sometimes in order to get the best kind of like likelihood of peer effect, because typically when you mix up students with other students that are quiet, they're not going to be as into collaborating, versus if you like have a student that might be a little bit more talkative paired up with a student that's quiet and maybe a student that's kind of middle ground, typically that's going to work out a little bit better. So I've seen it impact both positively and negatively, and you also see some relationships form that are really cool and sometimes unexpected. So it just depends. You gotta kind of make it work. So both.
Hi, my name is Samantha Pamintuan, and I'm a current student at UCLA. And in terms of the peer effect for how friendships or study groups affected how I approach classes, I think it had a large effect because they have a similar mindset and goal. And so with my friends and study groups, it's just kind of being around like-minded people really motivated me to challenge myself and push myself further rather than be in a comfort zone of sorts.
Okay, so the people who I surround myself with are usually pretty motivated and have been pretty motivated, and all were pursuing like higher career goals or higher education. So it really motivated me to also want to do those things. So like instead of shooting for, like a mid-tier job, I always shot for like the highest position I can in whatever field I'm in.
Hey guys, my name is Savannah Garcia. I am a friend of Aiko's, and I currently attend Portland State University as a student athlete and a business major. And the sport I compete in is track and field, aka multi, aka fast Latina. Not playing. Taking a big step to go to college out of state was really hard. It was a big change, especially having a new environment, new people, and new expectations. Although the transition wasn't easy, there were a lot of people that helped me push through, and my friends played a big part in that. As I'm finishing up my first year of college, I've realized how important it is to have people around you who remind you of your purpose and keep you grounded. Being on the track team, I've learned that even though track is often seen as an individual sport, it's really the people around you who make it more meaningful. My teammates have been a big source of motivation, whether it's cheering you on at practice or holding each other accountable or just being there on your toughest days. Because trust me, when you do sports in a level like this, it can get tough, man. But it's not the end of the world, trust. If I could do it, y'all could do it. But they help shape my mindset growth, not only as an athlete, but as a person. They've taught me that showing up for yourself is important, but showing up for others makes the experience much, much more richer. And when it gets hard, which it does, not even gonna lie, it's the support, encouragement, and shared goals with those around you that remind me to keep going. But yeah.
Hi, my name is Vela. I am an incoming junior at Yale University, planning on double majoring in ethnicity, race, and migration studies and political science with a certificate in Spanish. Coming from a proud Hispanic background, stepping into a predominantly white institution like Yale was a big shift. I found myself in spaces where my identity wasn't always understood or reflected, and I had to navigate what it meant to stay grounded while also adapting to, again, this new environment, both within the people and also geographically. Over time, I've come to see how powerful peer effect really is, not just in shaping how I study, but also how I view the world. I've been very lucky to build a community of peers who share similar values, even if our paths and stories are completely different. At the same time, I've also met people whose values don't align with mine at all, and I want to emphasize that that is okay. And so this kind of has allowed me at Yale, kind of taught me that growth isn't about fitting in, it's about remembering where you come from, staying true to your roots, and letting the people around you challenge and refine the person you're becoming.
Hi, I'm Alexandra. I'm going to my second year at Harvard, graduated from Edward Alvarez, and I'm going to answer the 7th question. And I would definitely say yes, my experience would have changed if I had surrounded myself with different people. I don't remember myself having a lot of friends in high school. I mostly hung out with my teachers and in classrooms, so I think that geared my interests and like hobbies more towards academia compared to anything else. And back home, my biggest influences were my parents, and they were really hard workers. My mom is a florist, my dad's a carpenter, and so they would work like from the second they got up to the second they slept. And so I guess I really tried to reflect their work ethic, and they told me being a student is my job. So I definitely think that encouraged me to focus on school and to get a private education like I am now, compared to a lot of my other peers that didn't have the same goals. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mayeli, and the people around me shaped my attitude towards school because I was in a friend group with goal-oriented, passionate, driven people, and that shaped the way that I went about my academic life and my social life. I think being with motivated friends helped me push through even just doing simple assignments. If I felt like I wanted to slack off, they would already tell me that one, they were working on the assignment, or they would our hangout sessions would become times where we would work on our assignments together. And I felt more confident and supported because of my peers, just because in the beginning of high school I thought I knew what I wanted to do, and I quickly realized that that was not what I actually wanted to do. And there was like this in-between period where I wasn't sure what my future was going to look like, but being around people that were either going towards their goals or had an idea of what they wanted to do in their future, in a way pressured me to orient my goals to find out what I wanted to do with my future. And it's that pressure that I think continues to motivate me now, where if I feel like I'm in an in-between space, it further pushes me to align myself onto a path that feels like it's heading towards somewhere. So because of my peers back then, I was able to use that pressure in a healthy way, where I would strive to be on a path that would lead me to a goal. And fortunately, I was able to find what I wanted to do in the future and what I'm working on currently. My friendships or study groups affected the way I approach classes, just because a lot of times we were taking similar classes. So if I had troubles, a lot of times I would ask my peers, and if I didn't know what usually it would be like didn't know what I wanted, like I didn't know what to do like in a math subject, and they would help me out with that. And then I would know what I was doing in one subject, and I would help them with that. So it was very much like we would find our strengths and our weaknesses and balance each other out. So it was great. I don't think I would have passed a lot of my classes if it weren't for their assistance. And oftentimes I remember being in a class with Nick, and we didn't really have like a professor at all, and in the middle of the year she like dipped. So he was basically my teacher for the whole year, and I'm very fortunate that I had a friend who was so knowledgeable about the subject, and I was able to learn from them, because had I not, I would have been very lost and I would have struggled a lot in high school. Someone who influenced my growth, I would say my friend group as a whole. They were very, like I said, like driven, and they're all very intelligent, and they definitely influenced my growth and the way I communicate now, because I was quite introverted and I found a voice through them. But also my teachers, because I think they were like the back, they were like our support, even like for my friends, and I don't think we would have been able to even be a friend group had it not been because of them. And my peers definitely affected my decisions because I already wanted to do clubs, but I think a lot of the reason why people don't go out of their shell to join clubs is because they either don't have friends or they're afraid that they're not going to have like a welcoming space or a community. But since I already had the community, I was able to go into clubs and build an even bigger community with my friends. And a lot of times we would make like community service like our hangout time. So I don't think we ever really hung out out of doing community service because that was what we saw as fun, and that really helped me because I found I was able to help the community and find what I liked through the community place, like the places where I did community service, but also it was very fun at the same time, and I was learning a lot about my friends but a lot about myself and how I would orient that into my future endeavors. If I had different people around me, I think my high school experience would have definitely changed because I went into high school with a different set of friends, and I realized that they didn't have the same goals as I did, and we just had very different perspectives on certain values. And when I found my friend group that I still keep in contact with now, my experience changed drastically. I became more academically inclined. I became more social in a different way that I had expected to be, and my goals be straightened up immediately, or not immediately, like throughout time. I realized that I actually figured out what I wanted to do in the future, and that was all because of the people whom I was surrounded with. And I think I'm very grateful that I was able to be in a space where I was around so many people that had goals and values. But yeah, I don't think it's something that's very common. But I hope everyone has their own group in such a way too. One way that the peer effect helped me most over the past 4 years, I think because I have such a great community in my hometown, I've gone through I've met like different people in college, and I think over the spectrum, everyone's trying to find like their community, and it's very, it's very I wouldn't say like difficult, but it definitely takes like a lot of trial and error finding your community here at college just because it's so big, and it's expanded much more than how it was in high school because everyone kind of knew each other, but here like you meet someone and you're meeting a lot of different people. So I think it's helped me the most because I've kind of seen what a good community looks like, and I found that out through high school, and in college I've been able to now find my community, and you kind of see the peer effect work out as well here too, because now I'm in a space where I have all these people who want to do the same goals as I do, and we're all helping each other out to break into the industry. And the peer effect is working out in a way that not only do before it was like we all had like our different goals, but since in college I'm around people who have like very similar goals for a career field, it's helping me find jobs now. With people who all work together in film crews and such. So I think it's helped me with my goals now and find even bigger spaces and break into spaces where I'm not usually welcomed into, since I'm new into the industry. But yeah, peer effect is real. Thank you. Muratalla-Morales. Bye, go.